Hello and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Jennifer Kirk.
And I'm Dave Leese, filling in for Jonathan Beyer. Welcome back, Jenny Kirk.
I'm so excited to be here, Dave Leese. So for those of you that don't know, Dave and I were together twice a week on See You Live, Patreon, TSL Patreon, but this is very exciting to talk skating with you.
Yes, I'm very excited to know what you think about the Junior Grand Prix, getting back into the action. Yes, and Ted was such a gem this week, Jenny. He had a moment that I won't be able to forget for a long time.
What is this moment, Dave Leese?
There were Russians, there were ice dancers, and Ted commentates everything. He feels the need, if he's nervous, to just keep talking, as some of us do that I can relate to. There was Russian passion going on in the junior dance, and there was scratching, and he was like, well, there's scratching going on in
I feel like it surprised all of us, but so I have a question too. Somebody on CEO was telling me that, did Twitter tell Ted not to talk during the programs? Because I find it to be much nicer. I feel like the first Grand Prix he was talking during the programs, but now he stopped talking, but it also feels like he pushes it all down. And then when the program is over, it comes out. Everything that he's been thinking then comes out.
Sometimes when Ted talks, it's his cadence. He feels like he needs to get so much information in 30 seconds that it rushes out before there are graphics, there are chyrons. If you forget Tracy Wilson's name, it's going to be okay. She's not going to kill you. It's fine. It's fine, Ted. You'll be okay. They're still going to love you. Say the name, maybe the music. We're okay. We don't need every fact in the media bio, but sometimes I think he gets nervous. I'm sure he is reading the tweets. So.
And he likes to provide it. So I will say though, I appreciate if that is what was said on Twitter, that he listens to it and he takes it in. Fair events.
Yeah, he's a man of the people. Yeah. So what did you make of the Junior Grand Prix? This was Evgeni Plushenko's moment.
It was, I was at the top of my notes, I have JGP of Plushenko, Dave Leese.
Yes.
Winning in the men's and ladies event. So I love Kirill. I want to adopt him as my new skating son.
Okay. Kirill Sarnovskiy, yes.
So some thoughts on his skating. Great spins, great speed on the spins, triple axel. I thought the long program was really good. He kept his energy, stamina throughout the whole thing. I will say, and I know you're not a fan of Game of Thrones, any music could have been playing. I felt like when we came in, she was kind of whining. The music didn't really matter as much, but I think he has a lot of promise.
I think he has more talent than some of the Atari boys that we see on the Junior Grand Prix and then we don't see again. So I'm hoping that maybe they grow and last. And he doesn't seem to maybe push as many numbers as they do at Sambo 70, and they seem to work more on technique. So I don't know. This was Trusova's coach from last year who was coaching him here. So I don't know. It could have been Trusova's program, just different costume, but it was all the same to me. But yeah, it was fine. It was. Terry's boys have better haircuts. I don't know. There's a Russian junior man. There's not a lot of personality. There's not a lot of style. Are they going to do the triple axel? Are they going to do the quad? That's kind of where we're at with them.
Here's the thing though, I think he has promise. He does need to add a quad. He was saying in his interview with Ted after the event that the next step is adding a quad sour or quad loop. So I see him having a future. He looks quite young for 15. It'll be interesting to see as he grows and matures how his jumps grow and mature with him. But I really enjoy him, Dave Leese.
Yeah. No, what about the silver medalist, Ilya Yablikov? Okay. I don't know what musical that is, but it was just reminding me that I went on a date once with OkCupid, and the guy looked really nice in person, and there was good communication, and I was looking forward to it. And then he said, why don't we go to a Broadway karaoke bar? And I was like, well, I like Broadway show. No, okay. They were singing Pippin, Sunday in the Park. I mean, we were going to obscure musicals, right? And I could tell that this was something he did several times a week. And maybe I wasn't really a participant on the date after a while. He was just singing, and what was this music and why did we think that a Russian junior man would be feeling it?
So here's my question. And as I was watching it, I want to ask you was it ironic? Was the singer saying laugh and smile because the singer was depressed or was it actually singing about laughing and smiling and he just looked really upset when he was skating and he was wearing all black? I couldn't understand. The face was just the same throughout the whole program and I felt like it didn't match the lyrics, or maybe it really did and it was just way over my head. I didn't get it.
I need to know how the choreographer came up with this. Like,
Also, he also had a lot of like strong hand movements. Like that was part of the program, was doing these a lot of jazz hands.
yeah, a lot of jazz hands, but no face, right? It was,
The energy went to his hands instead of his face. I will say though, I mean, great jumper, just natural springs, snap off the ice. Missed the quad loop at the beginning, but great quad toe after getting his focus back. Some errors throughout, it wasn't perfect, but I thought it was a strong skating along program.
every time we see the Russian boys at the Junior Grand Prix, it seems like they have really good jumps. They have a lot of potential. There's no program, and you just kind of don't know where it's going. Like, we see so many of them that they just become.
Why do you think that is? I was going to ask these top 10 men, how are they going to transfer that on the season?
Because there are so many guys in Russia that they have to get these jumps, and some will get injured, and some will. I just see the competition is so much fiercer, and maybe some only focus on the jumps. It doesn't seem like they spend a lot of time on the program in Russia, especially with this music, right? They just slapped it on. So I think that has something to do with it. Yeah.
I will say, compared to some of the men that we see in the US, some of the men we're about to talk about, they do seem to spend a lot of time on their spins. So I do appreciate that spins seem to be there.
Yeah, especially it's not a cricket club situation. They're going for every point in Russia. It seems like they really understand that. Like, you cannot give up a single point in this program, and it does matter here.
Well, speaking of spins and giving up points in the program, William Annis, he missed his combination spin up in the program. That back camel was scary. But what do you think about his skating, and what do you think it's going to take when we think about the next 4 years after the Olympics? Hopefully, if saying everything takes place this year, is he the future of US skating, and if so, what does he need to focus on?
So when we went to nationals, I think in 2016, he won maybe juvenile or one of like the younger events that was there. And I think we met him, and like they sent us they sent us like a video of him when he won. It was another boy, but he had like so much personality and so much spunk. And then he grew up to be heterosexual, and that's fine. But like, he like stopped paying attention to his posture and his music. And it just seems that it's like an afterthought to him. And Corey Circelli lost components to William Annis. And I think that that's a moment when you need to question what's going on in your life, right? Because William is a great jumper, and he seems like he's a great athlete, but I don't think he's worked on his skating skills or his presentation at all this season.
Okay, so here's the thing. I disagree a little bit.
Okay.
I do think there needs to be polish. If you watch his short program footwork, he does the butterfly, and like the back leg is really bent. And there's one thing, and this is not just William, but this is my pet peeve of it. I want them to ask him to close his mouth. He's a mouth breather when he competes, and that too takes away it. It to me just makes the whole thing kind of look a little bit sloppy if you're breathing through your mouth. So it is the polish, but I think compared to somebody like Corey, he has good speed. Maybe the depth of the edge isn't there yet, but he covers the ice. He fills out the ice. I think one of the things that Ted said that I thought was great is in practice the day before the short program, I guess he was jumping, and he was actually like jumping, doing a Midori, jumping into the boards, that he fills out the ice surface. But I agree, just the polish, the little details here or there. I felt he connected to a short program, didn't feel so much in the long, and it's hard with mistakes. I see promise there, though.
If you've looked at his Instagram, he did a great quad loop, which he missed here, but he's obviously a talented jumper. A lot of 2-foot skating, not that the judges care about that so much when you can jump like he does, but the shoulders situation, I think you need to get relaxed. Yeah.
It's using the upper body to gain speed, and I don't know with the laptops, do they focus? Do they have, somebody on their team who really seems, because I noticed this theme with some of their skaters, male skaters, is outside of a Jimmy Ma, who I think he may have, gotten this training before he went to them. The polish seems to be missing a bit. It's passionate, but not always polished.
Well, it does seem that every time we talk about their skating skills, Olga will then post an edge class on Instagram the next day. I appreciate that about her. I hear that Olga is really running the show and this is a personality we need to know about. But yeah, I don't see the polish. And one parent said to me that a lot of their younger skaters could always jump, but they would use really high energy music to kind of distract from the lack of polish and skating skills. So it's definitely been something to watch for. Because we've seen them have a lot of talented skaters, but they've never brought anyone all the way to the top, like across the finish line. Like Hannah Harrell was almost there and left and didn't quite get it and injured. And some of their skaters switched to pairs, but we haven't really seen them finish as the skater. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what they can do in Boston with. I think William is one of the big talents to come to them. So that's.
Yeah, and he does seem to have improved since working with them. The quads are there. It's just the consistency and the polish, in my opinion.
And I think he had a really rough year last year, not making nationals. So that was big for him to get it together. All right, what are we going to do about Corey, our friend from See Alive?
We need to light a candle for Corey. So, okay, let me give some thoughts on Corey, and then obviously I want to hear your opinion. I think what Corey has is something that you can't teach. And that is, he seems to be very self-driven and self-motivated. When we did have him on SIA, he said in his notes section of his phone, he writes out his schedule every week. He comes to lessons and he says, okay, this is what I want to work on. That there is that drive. I also think that he is an incredibly talented jumper. Air position is great. He seems to be a hard worker. I think compared to the top three men that we just spoke about, there's two main elements to Corey skating outside of the triple axel that he really needs to work on, and that is his speed and ice coverage and the speed of his spins. I know in his long program, he got level 4 on all of his spins, but when he does his back camel, I'm sitting there gripping, counting each rotation. And that's an element where even if you do get the level, it disrupts the flow of the program when you're skating and everything is going well. And then you just have this really slow spin. The skating skills too, getting down in his knees. I just think there's so much promise there. And he's at a point in his career where, do you think it's time to make change? What would you do in terms of, if you were advising Corey at this point?
I know this is going to be like sacrilegious to say in Canada and everyone, because they really worship like the cricket club is like, oh, right? But it's not like necessarily a slight against them. It's more the fact that Corey grew up there. He was coached by Lee, who's now at the Granite Club. But Tracy Wilson is like a good family friend of his. He told us in SIA that he lives within walking distance of the cricket club. He's been there his whole life. He's 18, 19 years old. I think he's kind of at that stage where you need to go to college and kind of figure out what you want to do. When you're like the baby of the cricket club, maybe that's all people really see you as, right? Compared to like Joseph and Conrad, who are doing all these quads. I don't think that his programs are winning music choices. First of all, they seem afterthoughts. He used them last season. He doesn't seem pushed in the same way to really be prepared compared to what he clearly wants in his career and seems affected. I just don't think he was fully prepared. You talk about the speed. He was an ice dancer. He has good edges, but I think he needs that Nina Petrenko to like yell at him to push every day in the lesson. And it just seems like at the cricket club, they're a little bit softer. We do the Tracy Wilson, but we've never seen the cricket club develop someone in a really long time, and not these coaches. Yuna had all of her jumps. Javi had his jumps and was talented. Yuzu was so talented. Adam went there, didn't improve until after he left. I think they can give you a great program with David Wilson, work on your flow, but are they really going to push you, right? And Corey's someone, he needs a second triple axel. He needs the quad in the program. It's just not the progression from last year to this year that needs to be happening right now.
Has he ever landed his triple axel under pressure?
He did last year. But again, that was at that virtual. It seems like it was in his head. I know that last year, remember he told us that he was doing the spread eagle entrance to keep his left shoulder in front. And I know that Brian had him work on it without it over the summer, which is a good thing to learn it from a different entrance, but it just seems like it maybe got in his head a bit, but he just seems very in his head about the other skaters and about wanting to make the final and about the points and everything. And I think he didn't go enough on a mission maybe in the practices with how they pray. I'd be really curious if they're really doing the full programs every day at the cricket club. Because what I've heard is that they will start with like 2 triples at the beginning, and then you add a third, and then you add a fourth, rather than just doing the whole program and falling until you do it cleanly. And it seems like the spins, I would imagine some of those are left out based on the fact that every time he has done a camel in any competition, it's the smoke break of the program.
And that's the thing, you know, you say, I want, and I'm paraphrasing what you said, but in terms of him growing up at the cricket club, and do they see him as, oh, that's, you know, young Corey, that it's hard to change that perception. Do you think he sees himself that way? That, you know, most skaters, if not all, you have a certain point in your career. And for some skaters, it comes earlier, some skaters later, where you have to make a decision. And it's uncomfortable, and it's, do I grow, and can I grow in this environment? Do I grow someplace else? And I wonder if, you know, I really see this as a defining moment in his young career of what is he going to do in response to these 2 competitions, because he did go into the Junior Grand Prix series, I would imagine, thinking that he was going to medal. And while 2 Peter non-Peters are not a horrible finish, it's a disappointment. And how is he going to take that now? Do you think he stays at the cricket club? And if not, where would you send him?
So I think he will, because his family is friends with Tracy, and I think that that would be really dicey, but I think that he should. Maybe like a Ravi Walia for a one-on-one kind of situation where he doesn't have the other top skaters. He could do the Lee Barkel and Lori Nickel route. And that would be interesting to see him really become like one of Lori's muses. I think that she would like his overall skating and get into that. That would be considered like so anti-cricket, because she is granite and they are cricket, but I think he needs to make a big change. He could even go to Hackensack and the Russians would, you know, run him into the ground. But I think that I couldn't see him like with a RAF or anything like that, but I think he needs a change in a drastic. He needs to like go to college and become self-reliant. And yeah.
I was thinking this too. You know, the impression that I got when we did have him on SIA was at the cricket club, because he was so young when Yuzu and, you know, all of these really elite skaters were there, and now he's one of them, he's moved his way out, that it's easy to be one of many. And then I would imagine going to an event where you're the one, so you have Brian by the boards, and it's a week of just focused on you, that if you're not used to that role, that can add another layer of pressure. So if I'm used to just showing up for my lesson every day, kind of saying, all right, can we work on quad toes today? But I know there's other skaters who are on the ice that maybe my coach's attention is, you know, dispersed, and now it's all on me, that can add another layer. So if he were to go to a coach who really gave him more undivided attention, he could collaborate in a way where perhaps then going to the competitions, it doesn't feel like such a big shift. And this is just my, you know, perception of what could happen.
I wonder too, at the cricket club, is the vibe, so they've always had a lot of very talented skaters, but the skaters come to them. And I know that Rika Kihira is supposed to come there. She's been injured, but they don't have Yuzu. They were supposed to have Boyang Jin, who's not there. You know, Jason has a broken ankle and is coming back from that. What are they don't have the top people. And does that change the coach's energy over time?
Yeah, lots of questions, and lots of talent with him too. So it's, you know, yeah. But just before we move on to the ladies, any skater with the spins, you're so sharp to work there. If you can do quads and do triples, just get a babysitter for 30 minutes every day to go through your spins. Force yourself to do them, because again, those are points that.
Yeah, he told us he's done the same spins his entire career, but it looks like he might have relaxed on that too much, because those are points, and Megan Duhamel would let us know that every point is a point. So this is, and the other thing, this is a bit of a Zach Daleman situation, and I know that we debated this earlier in the season.
I know what you're gonna say. Okay.
If you're a man and you're showing underarm, you've got to shave your pits. You've got to, like, before the short, before the long. He's an Italian, we know, like, hairy, but like, you're wearing pink mesh and skating to the Nutcracker, and it's like, are those sweat stains? Is that hair? What is happening here in this situation?
That was the thing with Zach Daleman. I felt like if you have and we see your armpit and I can see its hair, that doesn't bother me. Okay, I know what it is. But with Corey, I thought it was a pit stain. And I was like, how do you get a pit stain in light pink mesh? But it's hair, yeah. So
It was distracting of the overall look. Yeah. I also just don't think that the Nutcracker is like strong enough music for him for the free. I think he needs music that's going to make him skate with more speed and oomph. So
yeah, and fill out that ice. And those again are points that he deserves.
he did perform the short better than he did last time, I thought. So that was.
And I thought the second part of the long was better. That he seemed more relaxed and more into the program. So there's progress. I just think there's more potential there that can be capitalized on. Can we move on to the women?
Yes, but I did want to just say one thing, that the Instagram post that you sent me this morning of our friend Evgeni Plushenko, who's really just having a moment. He double winner here as a coach of his, famed skating school. Now, apparently this is like a bad Russian to English translation, but I just choose to appreciate the humor of it. And I know that the comment section will be like, it means something different in Russian, but we just need to have a moment and just have a laugh. If you train hard, you'll not only be hard, you'll be hard to beat, Jenny. That means
I want to do it for everything for the rest of it. Do you not love it? I hope it's that. I was like, that is such a good, you're not only going to be hard, Dave, you're going to be hard to beat.
Yes. Okay.
I love that he was having such a moment. One more thing about the men. I know I was the one who said let's move on. I love that Plushenko stood by the boards for the remainder of the group. And he was standing there watching him, but like right behind the coaches. I thought that was great.
I think he's getting very into coaching. I think his ego was bruised based on how he was discussed and treated last season with these girls, and he is determined to make this happen. So I'm impressed.
I'm impressed too. He did as well as he could have done at this time.
He seems more organized this season. They seem ready to go. He's not fighting with these divas. Like, let's happen. Okay. All right.
Zhilina, Dave Lee's thoughts.
All right. The costume first.
Wait, which one?
The short program.
Dave, I love it. Costume is tacky, it's fabulous.
Yes. Okay. At what age does someone get beige skates?
This was another question I had for you. And, okay, can we ask this? I want to ask you this question. I want to ask in comments. Do you prefer the Sofia half over the skate tan tights where it's, you're missing half the skate, or do you prefer the tan skates at 13, 14? Which one is your preference?
What age is appropriate to and what makes a person do it? Like, you wear white skates your entire life, right? You're Roz Sumners, you're in the Olympics, you're stretching that toe. And then you turn professional, and at a certain point, you're just like, I want the tan skates. And I know that it's for the line, but you're like, you've been stretching that line the whole time. Nothing's changing. There's something about the tan skates, it's matronly, right? Like when Hubble got the tan skates, we're like, oh, she would, right? She would. You see those dresses Hubble wears, you're like, well, the tan skates, they match.
I feel like when you go to the tan skates, you don't go back.
No.
It's like you stay in the tan skates for the rest of your career. Like once you made that switch, it's a decision for the rest of your career.
Is it like a sign that you're giving up? Or is it just a sign that you're becoming a woman on the ice?
Yeah, I would like to know why they put a 13-year-old in tan skates. Question there.
I also want to know why a 13-year-old was skating to Love Story and what any of this had to do with the situation. Right? What's going on here? What love has she had? What love story is going on?
It's like, just honestly, I felt like both of her program choices, the music choices that they had I don't think she made these music choices. I think that they were inappropriate when you're 13, 14. I think the short was fun, but here's the thing too. If you're going to choose music with lyrics that are very well known, that you don't know me, or you don't know me, apparently it's so well known, I know the name of it, you can't splice. At a certain point, we're about to sing the next word and then you put in another, it doesn't work.
Oh, you can in Russia. You could put any two pieces of music together, like Tanya Harding, and it will go. Okay, it's fine. All right. Also, her twizzle. She's such a talented jumper, but the twizzle situation. She does a twizzle on a stiff leg like 15 times in her program, and she looks like a pogo stick going around. It's jarring. The skating skills are not there. She is like Trusova with the pumping, but she's maybe a better jumper than Trusova, more from her legs. So what do you think of that in terms of her long-term potential?
Yeah, I see that there is long-term potential there. The jumps were great. The long program was a jump trail. It was a great jump trail. I think, again, for 13, her skating skills are great. There's so much promise. The spins are there. She's a great competitor. I just think that I also like the long program dress too. I think the skirt, though, could have been solid, not the see-through. We were talking about this on Sia last week. The see-through skirts where it looks like a nightgown with the tan skates. It is very Roz Sunders.
Roz, our queen, right? Beautiful goodbye, the best, yes.
But Sofia's skating, and she does have 2 years on Zhilina, but I think that there needs to be some focus on that second mark and a change of programs. Maybe the short's fun, but definitely the long program. They're not going to change the program, but in my opinion, I don't think.
Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes they just switch out the music, but not the choreography.
Program that would work in this situation. Yes.
I like when the Russians do that, and they own it. They're like, yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't work.
An ice dance team did it. Bobrova Soloviev, they just kept it. Yeah, fine. All right. It looks like it too. So Sofia, this was your girl of the event. You were really, really into her.
Yes. Okay, so there was a moment in her long program. I sent this to you over text, Dave, and I put on my Instagram story. She does her triple X, triple toe. The music changes, and she does this like lunge slide, and then this thing with her arm, and it's so just the face. Like, she has excessive arm movements in both programs, but the thing about her is she pays attention to the movements in a way that Zhilina does not yet at this point in her career, and she just emotes through her face. And I just thought she's my favorite of the event. Did you have a similar response to her?
Well, when I saw the lunge moment, the ladies event was a tough watch for me. I know it was exciting from a competitive point of view.
But it was a tough watch for you? Okay, defend this statement.
Programs were god awful. I mean, that we were watching some of them. Zhilina's like.
Oh, I thought you meant Sofia was a tough watch.
No, the ladies event, and I thought that Sofia was nice to watch because some of these ladies, I don't think that they had any idea what their music was playing. Yeah, Painted Black. Like, what's happening here? Yeah, right.
Yeah, that.
So I really did like her like moment of drama. I think she has long-term potential. I worry she might become too tall but I'm into it. So I was pleasantly surprised for Angels of Plushenko. They were having quite the day.
Let me just ask one more question. Does she have a triple axel or a quad? Have we seen this on Instagram?
I don't know.
Okay, so we need.
I mean, Zhilina had a triple axel that wasn't here. So, I mean, here today, gone tomorrow. I don't know. What's your feeling on Instagram? Because, Deanna Stellato will go, it's Instagram. Anyone looks good on Instagram. It's 10 seconds.
Yes, I think that it's nice to post it on Instagram to show up. However, I agree with her. It's 10 seconds. So I'm more impressed when I see.
Where do you rank it? Instagram jump in the harness, Chelsea Memel on the laser beam. Like where?
Okay, so I think the hardest is Instagram. I think second hardest, just like you said, jump in the harness. I think they're kind of on par. The laser beam is like, okay, if you're doing a new skill, I would put the laser beam because you don't have assistance like you do in the pole harness. But I think when you keep showing us the same thing on the laser beam, I don't. How about you?
Do you ever not feel like an idiot in the harness? Or is it just because I'm an adult in the harness? Like there's just like something awkward and like you're trying to follow the line and it's a very uncomfortable situation. I don't enjoy the harness that much.
And I feel like you're just so constricted, and particularly the pole harness too, you have this human next to you, and I want my personal space. Like, give me my 6 feet, I don't like that. Yeah, it's awkward.
It's an awkward moment, yeah.
Key of awkward moments, Petrosyan. She's not awkward moment. But awkward moment is the Painted Black. Didn't love her musical selection. I just say her arms on her jumps, they worry me a bit. It is very big and army on her takeoffs. And I think that just getting her shoulders down, giving her some polish, but she's good.
I think what I worry about with Adeliia is obviously Hot Sergey left last year. It doesn't seem like they've really replaced the developmental coaches. So it seems like the juniors are a little bit underdeveloped compared to their previous skaters. And it seems like a little bit sloppier, not as ready for competition. And Adelia is someone who doesn't seem to be the best natural jumper in the group compared to Zhilina, who she skated with before. She's obviously has more pizzazz and personality. I like her a lot. I like her short program a lot more than I like the free. But I don't know that I see like the big jumps coming in the same way that we saw from the other skaters. And I don't know if that's good or bad because they get them quick, they lose them quick, but I don't know. I don't know that she's like, are they going to continue dominating? Like, what's going to happen after these Olympics? Like, are they going to be ready? Is it just because they're not spending as much time with the top coaches? What's your take?
Yeah, it was interesting. I went on Terry's Instagram this morning, so it may have been posted. She didn't have any posts about her, whereas Plushenko did, of his skaters. So I'm wondering too, obviously Terry has more skaters at home, but the decision not to come to this event, I think that she didn't want to face losing to Plushenko and that.
Well, she doesn't even go to some of the Grand Prix. Remember, like she was gone and then it seemed like maybe she got more Botox before we saw her at the next event. Like, she only follows 12 people on Instagram. I don't know if Adelia is one of them. Okay. And maybe she doesn't deserve to be after this bronze medal. So
if your question is, then how do we bring her up to gold medal? An event like this, does she need more attention? Does she need more time? And I do feel like just the perception of you not having your head coach at the competition and Instagram. Yes, they did post on their official Instagram, but not on her personal Instagram. Is she getting that developmental time that she needs? And I don't know at this point in her career. I do think that there's promise, but she doesn't seem to be that same quick natural jumper. It does seem a bit more, she did quad, so she's a great jumper, but I don't know at this point.
I think it also shows that you can only have so much attention as a top coach for so many skaters, and then it becomes the crowd, right? Who's just kind of learning by being there and watching the other skaters. And I do get the vibe with her that there's not enough individual attention. But I like something about her, especially the way that like her personality, the character in the short program, I think is interesting to watch. But, after a bronze medal here, they're probably not going to be so thrilled with her. So,
which is sad because she skated very well. And there's people to be thrilled with her. Let's talk about the American women.
Yes. Okay.
Monday, please.
So we had Ava Ziegler, our hack and sack girl. Now, compared to the Russians, I thought that she was very understated in a very lovely way. The triple X triple toe in the short was not rotated, but I thought the free was a really nice moment for her, and she seemed very, very happy. So
yeah, and skating to gravity, I was doing my story when the music started. I did my internal are we gonna? Because I don't love the female ballads. Just when she kept my attention. I thought she really performed well to it. She seems well trained. She kept the energy up at the end of the program. One thing about her jump, so she does get the under rotations on triple. If you notice her last rotation, her arms almost out here. And I'm sure they work on this, but getting her elbows in and her arms closer to her body, because she's not a quick rotator, and she has high-ish jumps, but she doesn't have huge snap on her jump or a huge leverage on her jumps. So I just think that that's really slowing down her rotation, getting those arms in. But good spins, good presentation. I enjoyed her.
Overall, she has a lot of talent compared to some of the other skaters that we saw here, but I don't think it's I think it's a slower burn for her in terms of her development, which may not be a bad thing, especially in the US. What do you think of Mia Kalin? So there's a lot of hype about her because she did the quads in Milwaukee. Are the quads the only thing that they focus on?
I was going to ask you this too. Does she have a secondary coach who works on daily on the spins? Because she didn't get all her levels in the spins in the long program. Works on the skating skills, the attention to detail. The first quad in the long was really impressive. Second quad not rotated. I would have just done one quad here. She's 13 years old. She has such a bright future, but there are parts of her skating and at this point in her career that giving these parts attention is as important as focusing on developing her technical abilities, the spins and the skating skills, and really drilling that right now. What do you think?
Well, I think Paulina Edmonds is in the area. She loves consultant coaching. So I think that she should be helping Mia with these skating skills because, this girl needs help. And I don't think that a Russian man is going to give us what we need in this area. He seems like he's dropping the ball in his skating skills. And it was glaring here. There's no choreography in that free program, none. And I think that all the attention is on the quads. And when you're doing a great quad toe and then you're under rotating or triplets in both programs, I think you need to really focus and really assess what you're going to need to do for nationals, because she's obviously so talented, but there's things getting missed along the way. And I think that they need to assess what's happening, there. But I think apparently her dad was in like a really bad cycling accident like a week ago, so her parents couldn't go with her to the event. So I think it's impressive that she performed as well as she did. But I do think that there are things in the skating separate from that they really do need to look at, and mostly being skating skills. Also, you never know how long Alyssa Liu, who's in the same rink, is going to last with Jeremy Abbott and Massimo Scali. So I just think with how Arthur Liu acts, like as soon as they even have a disagreement, you pull them over in the coffee line and you just, maybe send a text, a DM on Instagram, like a post, but there's needs to be some development here.
Yeah, in the short program I had done, she got a level 2 on her flying spin, level 3 on her spin and long. So also really focusing again. I feel like a broken record during the show, but getting the points on the spins is. Maybe
Ashley Wagner wants to consult and coach on the spins as well. Tell us what you learned in your career.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that, but yes.
I'm going to her class in 2 weeks. I'm going to skate and sculpt. I cannot wait.
What? You're going in 2 weeks? You have to tell us about
going to the Ashley Wagner skate and sculpt class. Look,
you sign up already. Like, what is the process?
Like I'm a paying customer and I'm doing it. All right. I'm going up for the classic. Yes. All right.
Are you going to film this class? Do you think she'll allow filming? What's going to happen?
I don't know that Ashley knows that I love her. I don't know that she really gets it, that we were rooting for Ashley, but she was a challenge, and I.
Which just makes you love her. It's part of that unconditional love.
Yes. I'm so curious. I want to skate to Beyonce with her. I want her to teach us like some shimmies. Like I'm ready for it. So
I'm ready to hear about it.
I would pay her for a private lesson. I would do it.
Does she give private lessons? Is that a possibility?
I don't know. One silver lady asked her for private lessons and she said no, flat out. So I don't know. As a silver man, I might not be high level enough. I don't know. Maybe when I get to gold or something, and in that realm, I could shimmy with Ashley. I don't know. So
we'll be doing it.
You have to read the Q&A on her website for like the Skate and Sculpt website. It's pure Ashley. Like there's a lot of sass, there's a lot of attitude, there's a lot of like theatrics and BS. Like the FAQ on the Skate and Sculpt website is top notch. So
I'm going to have to read this. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you, Dave, about Shoma.
Yes.
Michael Jackson program. So we did watch this again on Sia last week. We gave some of our initial thoughts, but now that you've had some time to let it sink in, we watched again. Thoughts on the Michael Jackson?
All right. If you were Lambiel and people kind of like talked about you with your skaters, the way people discuss him, and you had that physical likeness to Michael Jackson, I don't know that being so literal with the crotch grab and the choreography is the way to go. Like I remember in 1990 when everyone jumping off the diving board and like grabbing their crotch at the swim club, and I haven't seen it since, since.
Remember that. Okay.
It was what people used to do back when he was in the soda commercials and everything like that. I really like Earth Song. I don't know this other Michael Jackson song very well that he's skating to. I appreciate that he's doing something different, but there is a little bit of a cringe factor at one point in the program.
Yeah, I just think there's a cringe factor, in my opinion, around Michael Jackson in general. So like you said, I agree. I like what he's doing in terms of doing something fun, and that's really going to, I just imagine the audience really getting into this program. And I like that when the music changes and it becomes more techno and he's doing the dancing, I just think you could do this, to another singer. You don't need to skate to Michael Jackson to get the same effect. And he's not even using songs like Thriller or Man in the Mirror. So it's not, drawing us in terms of, oh, this is the nostalgia factor where I really connect. These are more obscure songs. I would change the music.
Yeah. It's a great concept. I think it's a great show program.
Yes.
I think with Shoma, it's always, is he going to do this at the competition? Is he going to go back to Robin? Because that's what we really want for the Olympics.
That's what I really want.
Yeah. Like, I'll give him 3 months with Bolero, and then we're going back to Robin.
I'll give you a competition, maybe 2, but then can we please go back to Robin?
Yes. He has so many good programs to choose from. As long as he goes back to Robin, you want to do Michael Jackson, I don't care. Right? You think you're going to do Bolero with that weird, I'm not into that. So it's fine. What's a crotch grab at the Olympics other than a moment for Leslie Jones,
Appropriate. Depends on your perception. He's not like actually physically touching himself, so it's
simulated.
It's a gesture. I would just change the music.
Yeah.
Good. We also saw
Daisuke Takahashi. Yes.
But let me ask you this: what was this event? Because were they the only team competing?
I mean, it's like a made-up summer competition in Japan or something that we were watching. This is maybe the 3rd time we've seen him as an ice dancer. They kept the free dance from last year. We saw a new rhythm dance. I think he looks way more legitimate as an ice dancer than he did last year.
Twizzles looked better.
Yeah. Do the lifts scare the bejesus out of you?
Really scare me. It's another one of those, like the back camel where you're gripping and counting. It doesn't seem natural.
But I love watching him. Like, I love this whole experiment. I love the smoke and mirrors of it. I love watching him like do the ballet jumps, and it looks like he and Veronika Zhilina have really connected, right? Do you notice that like there's one point where they do like the assisted like falling leaf type split jumps that they would do in the ballet? He's not lifting her at all. Like, they're completely faking it.
Touching.
Yes. I don't know that their pattern dance is legitimate in the rhythm dance. If I were Tim Coletto, I'd be really nervous. And I say that with so much love. The judges here were giving them 9.5s and 10s, and the program was gorgeous. I feel the TV and the public, they want Daisuke at the Olympics. They want this to happen so badly. I don't know that you can compete with that at this point. Like, if they fake it enough, I think it's going to happen because neither one is going to win a medal at the Olympics. So
it's, and said particularly with, I sense perception is such a big part of it, that if these scores continue, the PCS to be so high, he has made a lot of improvement, and what he's doing is incredibly difficult. I just don't, it still doesn't seem completely natural, which is understandable. I mean, 2 years into completely changing disciplines, improvement, the twizzles look better.
Yeah, I thought overall the free dance was really pretty. I don't know if it was ice dance, but it was gorgeous skating. You know, there was something happening, right? Like, it was its own discipline. Yeah. And because, so Japan is pulling out of the Junior Grand Prix. They're pulling out of the early senior Bs because of the pandemic. Do you think this helps them or hurts them? Because they don't have that many actual matchups now against, Tim Coletto to go neck and neck.
I think if we're talking about potentially padding the results in order to send him to the Olympics, I think
the skating, this does happen, yes.
This helps him, because then you're not saying, well, they beat XYZ at this event, or there's no head-to-head matchups until nationals potentially. Then okay, we can just do it. That there's not another panel that we're going off of. What do you think?
Yeah, so I consider this like the Hail Mary, right? We got Plushenko to the Olympics in 2014. We almost got Sasha Cohen to the Olympics in 2010. It almost happened. We really wanted it.
Yeah.
Evan, the comeback almost happened. We couldn't get it into the competition.
Yeah.
I think we're due for one, like a real Hail Mary. Like, even Michelle, like, we saw her at Yuna's show, but not in competition. Somehow we got her to the practice in 2006. Like, we have really earned a Hail Mary.
Yeah, we've been so close.
but I do have empathy for the other Japanese team and want them to do well. So whichever one goes is fine, but it's hard not to be human and want Daisuke to skate in there. And I think everyone's like secretly in the same boat. I don't think that anyone believes that it's like legitimate ice dancing going on, but let it happen.
It will make Japanese nationals very interesting. It will make, in the selection process, interesting to watch and to follow. And so
just hope that Shinamano doesn't become an ice dance caller and just keep it separate, right? We don't
disciplines.
Yes. Don't let Kristen Frazier be the caller and not give anyone any key points. Like, you need someone really maybe like the Helena woman that's like Polish. She's always like very good to the Russians. I think we need her on the panel. So someone like Alla, like the Russian, someone really corrupt and fabulous should be in charge of the
fabulous.
Yes. Yeah. How about, let's talk about the USFS this week, because this was a moment. They really try to make different rinks happen. You have to admire Scott Hamilton's business savvy to get Champs Camp at the rink he's affiliated with. Mm-hmm. But when you forget to turn off the live barn, great for us. And you can watch it all in our See Alive archive via Patreon if you are at the See Alive tier. A faux pas for the USFS.
Well, okay. I just wanted to add something in here. I think that Champs Camp should be public.
Yes.
Just with the Russian test skates. I think that the critique afterward, if I'm a skater, I'm going in, keep that private, keep that confidential. That's between the skater, the coaches, and the judges. But I think it's good for the skaters to make this public. And this is my opinion. It seems weird that it is this private, secret, only we can see our programs. It's a control. For me, and maybe it's my past experiences with USFS, it feels very controlling. And why do we have to keep the secret? Make it a public event, stream it. And I feel like for the skaters, then that puts a little bit of pressure on them. It makes it feel like more like an actual competition experience. And then the critique is private.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it were public, would the skaters have shown up looking better? Because there were issues at Champs Camp, especially with the ladies, where they just did not look prepared. Brady Tennell having an injury, we saw her do up to triple loop. I think she was doing triple toe, and that's understandable and fine. We saw different programs from Mariah Bell, but overall the ladies looked really rough. And we know Amber's injured, but you start to think like, who are three that can go to the Olympics? I mean, Karen looked the most prepared and ready, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought Karen and Alyssa, I was surprised at how fast Alyssa looked when she was on the ice with all the other US women. I didn't recognize that it was her at first, just the speed. I wanted to ask you, if you were Brady, or if you were Tom, would you have had Brady not do any jumps? Because to me, watching that practice, if you're not up to, she was missing loop and she didn't really stand out as a national champion, that I would have said, okay, she's injured. This is something that we do at home, but coming here, doing the programs without jumps like Jason, I think he did, not jumping in these practices, maybe doing a couple to warm up. But I just think, again, if we talk about perception, let's really show off your spins and the programs and use that, but not do just through loop.
I think it's hard because you never know when US figure skating is going to turn on you, right? And they do typically turn on skaters in an Olympic year. They start to panic a bit, or they get angry, or what happened with Ashley Wagner 4 years ago. If I were Brady, yeah, I would be concerned. I also think that looking at the skaters there, I thought it was weird that Mariah Bell was popping a lot of triple Salchows into doubles, considering that's one of the easier triples that she would have done for such a long time in her career. That makes me think that maybe Brady has a shot of just getting back all of her jumps by nationals and being fine. She's been reliable, but I do wonder about her overall health, whether she can rotate the jumps. Mariah did stand out more, like who your eye goes to on the practice, right? Who's looking, and I don't know. I don't think it helped Brady to have to do Champs Camp and not look her best. But how about Jason, like doing along, and we saw a double axel, a triple loop. The word is that the selection committee wants to send Jason. They want to give him every opportunity, and he certainly earned it. Coming back from injury, is it a risk to even go? Like, what would happen if you didn't show up to Champs Camp? Would you have to have like a medical exemption, or what is the situation? Yeah. It does harm them.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's a thing that, as an athlete, when you put in the mindset, you want to impress. So you're going to push yourself and you want to skate really well. But on the other hand, is that smart? Somebody who's coming off of injury, like a Jason, like a Brady. So how do you know, I want to look good the first time that US officials are viewing my programs and viewing my skating, but I also want to protect my body. That's the thing too, with the Champs Camp, because it's changed so much from when I was meeting. It just seems like there's a lot of I just think of the word control, and it's to the point where it's like, what is the point, but what is the point?
I think they want to check in on the skaters and give them feedback. There's always the infamous story that Marilyn Charlie showed up with a program about a typewriter and had to change it. This is what they tell all the skaters, and it worked for them. They won the worlds or something that season. But I didn't see here the level of preparation compared to when you were going to watch the Russian test skates in a week. What we just saw at Champs Camp was not good enough, right? Even Nathan not having to do like full programs. And I know that they always say that you have to do full programs, is my understanding, and then it gets watered down by the time that you're there. We did see a quad loop by Nathan. He is bringing back the Nemesis short program that he missed at the last Olympics, which makes him interesting to me.
I love that. I think respect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that I love his free skate. I haven't loved it all summer, but I think he's capable he looks on track to do what he needs to do for the Olympics. And it's interesting how Raf has like built him up. So if you've watched Nathan throughout the summer, like he'll do his program with all triples, and then they'll add in a quad, and then they'll add in more. It's like similar to the cricket club, but they're like going from doubles to triples. He's doing
triples to quads.
The pro program all the time with triples and going and adding the quads in. He looks on track, I think, for this year. He doesn't look peaked too early. He doesn't look behind. He looks like he knows what he is doing, in terms of Jason's new Schindler's List variation, I thought was gorgeous, but without really seeing him do clean triple flips and triple Lutzes very much. How much time do you think he needs to really restore everything? And how good does he have to be at nationals if he doesn't go to the Grand Prix?
So I don't think he needs a lot of time to get back, the triple flips, the triple Lutzes, triple triples. My concern more is obviously the quad. I don't think he'll need a quad at nationals in order to make the Olympic team. He'll try it at the Olympics. I worry more about his confidence on the triple axel. In my opinion, I think they want him on this Olympic team. Yeah. I think at this point, he's on the Olympic team, and talked about earlier with the spin skating skills. I think he's okay. What do you think?
I think my only worry for Jason is if there's a situation where it becomes like the long program last time at the Olympics where Adam and Jason messed up. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of guys that are going to be trying a lot of quads at nationals, and whatever it is about nationals and an Olympic year, someone usually tends to hit. And when you've got Ilya Malinin trying maybe up to 6 quads, and you've got Yarrow trying at least 4, right? And you have Naumov, who seemed to be training his program, and Jimmy Ma, who came out of the woodwork. And, Yarrow had already been awarded Skate America. And then at Cranberry, Jimmy Ma really outskated him. Stuff like that starts to look funny, right? Obviously, Jason has the career. It also doesn't send you to the Olympics in the right mindset necessarily. I do think he has every opportunity to go back. He probably should pull out of his earlier events and just take the time to get slowly. I don't think he needs to do a senior B.
No, I don't think that there's anything, even if he were to not do the Grand Prix, anything to be gained. It's not that he's gonna medal at every event or anything like that, or he has something to say. I would say rest, take time, build up your confidence, build up jumps, skate really well at nationals, make that Olympic team. That is the focus this season, is nationals and the Olympics.
Sometimes it seems like the Canadians, their philosophy about getting things out there early is very different than the US. Like if someone goes out and looks horrible, it is considered like fine. Remember when Caitlin Osman like went out in 2013 to skate to that Cleopatra and she was like popping double axels and doing doubles and looking really rough. And she had just had that great season the year before. And then it was her reputation was completely tarnished. I think they just have a different view. So I don't think it was good for Jason to go.
No, and here's the thing. Outside of reputation and perception, it's how does that affect my confidence as a skater? If I know I'm not fully ready for an event and I'm going to go out and skate, I'm setting myself up to know that I was so great last season, and now it's a different thing than, oh, I'm starting my run throughs and I'm not going to do clean programs in practice. I'm not going to do clean programs in front of a panel of judges, now on the internet, all of this stuff that I think we need to think about how particularly a skater like Jason, whom we've heard is more sensitive when it comes to feeling confidence and feeling ready, is I would protect him in that way.
I mean, what he did very well. To quote Scott Hamilton, but what he didn't do, concerning, but not awful, but I don't think he's going to have the Grand Prix that maybe they hoped for, and I don't think we're ever going to see that quad. I think it's time to maybe keep him healthy, get him in as good a shape as possible, and
I also don't think maybe we need to see the quad. He's proven to us that maybe we don't. Obviously, he's going to continue to try it, but I don't think it's a make or break. Even doing up to 6 quads in the program at nationals. I think
if he creates a moment at nationals, one viral program, no one will care about anything else, right? Done on the team going. I think it would be maybe let him do the short at the Olympics, have Nathan do the free, however they want to do it. It's all good. Also, Vincent Zoe did look better here, that he's been on a high. I hope he continues it up. He's been skating very well. He's going to Nebelhorn. Alyssa's going to Nebelhorn. I think that they will qualify the spots. Roman Sadovsky is going for Canada. So I'm curious to see what happens going forward. This is going to be quite the event in a couple of weeks. It's like, it's like the third world countries of skating. Let's see this happen. I love Let me
ask you this. How's your girl Isadora doing?
I don't know. Okay, I didn't check in this week because I had a busy week with work and everything. I mean, is no news good news? I don't know, but we're all pulling for Isadora to pull in on these triples, do that spin and get it done and get that spot. And everyone is in true Isadora fashion. We are white knuckling it until the last moment, but she has proven the ability to do it time and time again. So it almost feels like if we weren't getting gray hairs,
it would be normal, it would be weird, nervous.
So I think this is completely normal at this point. I am not surprised at all that we are at this point of the season.
We got butterflies in our stomach, heart's beating a little bit faster, and we love it.
In 2020 World, she just had to do she already had the short score. She just had to do a good long at one of those, senior Bs. And then she would go and she would just miss the score. And I was at work and I just text her, you need to skate like a bitch, okay?
What is it? That's what Alex says. You
must be bitch. Yes. Yeah. She can get it done. She can get it done, and she just needs to let the other skaters make a mistake. She's going to be behind after the short.
I can't sit back and let them make a mistake.
Yeah, you let those girls make a mistake. They're going to be sweating bullets, okay? And don't skate to Gangster's Paradise. Maybe it's not appropriate in this year. So, well, how about the news about Dalilah and Safe Sport? So this has been brewing for quite some time. What is your take on it?
So here's my thing. This is automatically, well, first of all, what has come out in terms of
temporary restrictions. It's interesting that she's not allowed to travel, communicate, or coach with skaters without another adult present. But then if you think about her staff, her son is on her staff, and so is TJ Nyman. Now, I'm not saying anything about her son, positive or negative, but that's not really a punishment. Obviously she has to notify who the other person is, but looking at this realistically, whoever another adult is doesn't really change anything. for her. She can't contact anyone that was an official claimant. Now, there were 12 claimants who were listed. There were upwards of 60 witnesses. It lists the initials on the official report. So, I mean, it's been redacted because obviously anyone could figure out who those were. But there were some skaters that maybe didn't file with Safe Sport, but they did participate. So, I mean, when you have 60 witnesses, what I'm hearing is that people seem disappointed based on what, they talked and through the whole process, but everything has been overturned. Richard Callahan was banned and then it was overturned to 3 years. So you have to wonder if Safe Sport is trying to just go for what they can hold. But, John Zimmerman, he got his overturned when he fought it. So it just seems like, I think there's a lot of questions about the process.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is, my mind automatically goes to the skaters who did share their stories with Safe Sport. And I just hope that, whatever the outcome is with Dalilah, that they don't feel like their experiences were invalidated. Yeah. And I think about skaters who may have been thinking about going to Safe Sport and reporting abuse, or former skaters, coaches going and reporting their experiences. I hope that when we hear about something getting overturned or a coach not getting suspended, that it doesn't deter them from going and sharing their stories. And
I mean, it has to be intense to wait to, a year and a half to 2 years for this process to go through. And I don't think anyone felt like it was a victory for either side. And I'm sure for Dalilah, you do have kind of that mark against your name, and that's not something, positive either. But
well, I wonder, just going back to your point about the other adult, I think too about the responsibility that it puts on that adult. So, are they trained in trauma? Are they trained in, abuse? Do they know what they're listening for, looking for, all of that stuff? That, the only person I could see that would really fit that role is someone like Na, who is neutral, who would step in. If you think about it, I don't know who that adult needs to be, but if it's a parent or if it's another coach, that person may be reluctant to step in and say, hey, don't talk to them this way. Or maybe if it's a parent, they wouldn't even know, because like we've seen that some parents are groomed too. And I'm not saying specifically with Dalilah, but just in general, the parents may not know what is abuse, what isn't abuse. And I wonder, who does that neutral adult need to be?
Yeah, it's concerning. I think it's a big wake-up call too for the whole pair community and what's going on, but I don't know. I think there's more to come in that situation, but I think I'll be curious too. I mean, she was coaching a team, not USFS, but representing, I think, Sweden at Cranberry. I mean, she's still coaching. So do you think that people will go back to that training camp? What happens? I mean, it seems like, listen, Richard Callahan had a New York Times article. A lot of people went to him afterwards. So yeah, you never know. I don't think it's over in skating. I think people want results.
I think too, this is another thing I was thinking about. Some of these coaches, some of these do not have small personalities. So I think about a skater who may have, let's say it's a current competitor, has gone to Safe Sport, has shared their experience. The coach that was in question knows who that skater was. And now that coach is standing at the boards at nationals or sitting next to you in the locker room because they're with their skaters. How is that going to affect you mentally, emotionally, if nothing happens? And yeah, I just hope that those skaters have the support they need.
Well, what was your moment of the week on a high note? What you watched everything? What was your big moment of the week? Also, parabens to the Russian team for winning pairs.
And the Canadian team.
The Canadian Swan Lake winning ice dance. Didn't know we needed Canadian Swan Lake, but we got it.
We got it with the two and all. Yes. So, okay, I have two moments of the week. One was Sofia's love when she did the lunge and the hand and her face. And the second moment of the week was, whether it was erroneous translation or not, Plushenko's quote on his Instagram, I wrote it down. If you train hard, you'll not only be hard, but you'll be hard to beat. Take place.
I think it has to be Daisuke doing that ballet jump and then the fake splits, assisted splits. I mean, he was living his best life and I was here for it. So I apologize to him, Coletto, but I loved it. I loved every second of Daisuke. So yes. Well, we want to know, what was your moment of the week? Thanks for watching and join us on See Alive. So we'll
be on See Alive tonight at 8 Eastern. We'll be talking more about the Junior Grand Prix, sharing some more insights that were shared during today's show.
You never know who's going to show up. Thanks so much. Bye now. Hold an edge and look sexy.
Hold